Welcome to the Codecast podcast. Real-world insights for your daily medical coding and billing processes. And now, here's your host, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Codecast podcast today. My name is Terry Fletcher. I hope everyone is getting excited for the holidays like I am. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. I still have some work travel to do. I'm actually in Dallas next week for a 2-day cardiology seminar. I'm presenting, and that'll be the November 19th and 20th. Take a look at my website at terryfletcher.net if you're interested in registering. I think we've got 6 spots left. So anyway, I'd love to see you, love to meet you if you're into cardiology specialty. But just as far as the fall season, I always start my shopping early for Christmas, and I'm known for my Christmas stockings. I try to do fun ones for that. So it's fun to think about that this time of the year because I do some really funny things there. One thing I do not do is I do not put up my tree before December 7th. First of all, it's too dry and warm here in Southern California to do that if you get a new one. But I like to linger in each holiday before I move on to the next. I have a friend who spent Halloween having her 10-year-old give out candy as she put up 5 fake Christmas trees in her house. I just don't think we can be friends anymore. I was like, Sherry, what are you doing? So yeah, we had actually a little bit of words on that. She's like, seriously? I'm like, seriously? So anyway, that was insanity to me. But I do love fall candles and the crisp morning weather. And well, again, at least in the morning, it was 85 here today, even though we had some fog to start. But the new coffee flavors at Starbucks, so 'tis the season. We're actually heading right into it. So since last week, I was so serious with my CMS breaking news that I knew you needed to hear on the guilt by association. I wanted to have a little fun today. So I'm going to be sticking with the fall theme, but I'm going to give you some ICD10 CM codes that you could possibly see walking in your door from fall activities with maybe some injuries. And so that's where my focus is going to be today. It's also going to be a little bit of a shorter episode because I am having to do several podcasts in a row this week. Now I've got my Codecast. I have my Paycom podcast now that is the new for office management. I have to do a football podcast for my Pittsburgh Steelers. And then I'm also working on my business collective for those of you that are really driving me crazy. And I appreciate the craziness. Keep me on top of it, going from employee to entrepreneur. And I want to get that up and running, but I just have to get one more episode recorded and then we will be on our way. My daughter told me the other day that I need an intervention, that I'm out of control with podcasting. And yes, I have 5 now. The Codecast, the Paycom podcast, Steel City Underground, WTF podcast, What the Football. I still do the Bun Life podcast. We're actually putting up some more episodes in the next week or two. And then the Business Collective. So yeah, we have, I'm a crazy podcaster. What can I say? So before we get started, first, today's Codecast is also brought to you by Kaiser Permanente of Southern California. You can find them on the web at kp.org. And Inc. Magazine, everything you need to know to start and grow your business now, inc.com. So what I wanted to give you was, actually, I thought they were amusing, 15 funny fall ICD-10 codes. I love when these things come up. Every once in a while, I'll post something to my Instagram account. And hi to some of the people that have just started following me on Instagram. I love that. Follow me on Twitter at TerryCoder1, Instagram, Facebook. We have a Terry Fletcher Consulting Facebook page, and I put some things on there as well. So always fun to see everybody engage on social media. But the first one is W6t, again, ICD-10 CM code, so physician diagnoses, and that's unspecified fall. And I'm actually going to put this on a blog. And I picked up on my blog on my website, and I actually put a bunch of photos to it. And so this one has a fresh pile of leaves ready to break into, and kids just falling right on top of them. The next one is a fall from a tree. And that's W6t. So some people get up and pick the apples off trees, and they fall off they fall off a tree trying to pick apples. So that's W6t. Our next one is Y93.6. This is injury due to sporting activity in a group. So this one is kind of funny because I had somebody code this, and I read the medical record on it. and somebody got hurt giving high fives and celebrations during a football game. And I was like, wait, what? And she said, yeah, somebody got hit too hard on a high five and actually sprained their wrist. So can I code this code, the Y93.6? Okay, yes, you can. Now, these are never primary. These are to descript what happened after you code for the injury itself. But just so you know, if you haven't had a chance to peruse these areas lately for external causes, it's pretty funny. The next one is Y93.E2, injury due to activity, specifically laundry. So for all of us out there that are doing laundry, and whether it's extra layers or prepping the sheets and towels, or maybe families visiting and you hurt your back putting a fitted sheet on. Actually, how about folding a fitted sheet? Yeah, if you know how to do that, you're better than I am. But sometimes avalanches of freshly folded laundry can occur out of your linen closet. So that is actually a code, Y93.E2, injury due to activity, laundry. And that's actually what it says. I'm really not, I kid you not, you guys, I'm serious. The next one is Y93, injury due to activity, knitting. It's in there. It is in there. Now, I was thinking about it as basically, you poke yourself with the needles, and some people should just put the needles down and order it online. Okay. You don't have to knit, but for those of you who do it, as part of your mental health that I'm always on you about. Okay. And you'll enjoy the photo I have on there. I have one of you guys out there doing the knitting. It's not just a women's sport. Apparently it's also for men. The next one is K40, and that is the hernia section. Maybe you lifted a pumpkin or a turkey that was just too heavy for you. So someone always tries to pick up the prize-winning pumpkin at the pumpkin patch. That's all I'm saying. But so that one you're probably going to see a little bit, lifting things, the box of ornaments, lifting everything down. So now you know where that is. The next one is V as in Victor, 84.6. So this one is a passenger of a special agricultural vehicle injured in a non-traffic accident. So what about hay rides? Great in theory, but essentially it's an accident waiting to happen. If you had, anything like my child when she was younger, she was a daredevil. And when you say don't stand up in the back, what would she do? Stand up. And I'm just like, seriously, Summer. So yeah, so if you have those kids, that's passenger of a special agricultural vehicle injured in a non-traffic accident. It can happen. Next is, and this one, I'm sorry, but I've had Netflix sponsor my podcasts. I've had with Stranger Things and true crime authors, you name it. So I had to throw this one in here. F51.4. And this one is night terrors. So sometimes the crows aren't the only ones frightened by scarecrows. So if you're having those and there's something that you watched or saw a scary show or, whatever, then night terrors is a diagnosis. So keep that in mind, F51.4. Then the next one, okay, I don't understand how this can happen, but W61.42, you were struck by a turkey. So for those of you that don't just go to the grocery store and get your butterball or your turkey, I actually buy, if I make turkey, usually I make lasagna for Thanksgiving. But if there's that one time I would make a turkey, I usually get a kosher turkey because I like them because they're actually cleaner inside and out. But struck by a turkey, how many of you going to the farm and going, I want that one running around over there? If you get struck by a turkey doing that, I think you kind of deserve what you get. But that is actually a diagnosis. So who thinks up these things? Somebody has entirely too much time on their hands. The next one, X10.2. So contact with fats and cooking oils. So this is actually a good one for those of you that are going to deep fry your turkey. Deep fried turkey always seems like a good idea in theory, kind of like the hay rides. But then when people do it, they don't realize they've basically caused a fire spout and they get injured with that oil because it gets so hot. So that would be X10.2. Next one is sleep deprivation. Some of us already have that. Z as in zebra, 72.820. You're out there shopping. You're worried about family coming. And let's face it, Frequently seen after early. How many of you are going to Black Friday deals and piled on top of holiday stress? So sleep deprivation could be definitely something that you could diagnose yourself with. Next one is, W6t. Speaking of shopping, crushed, pushed, or stepped on by crowd or human stampede. Some people will do anything for those new Star Wars toys. So unfortunately, you will pay the price. So that is actually a diagnosis. W6t, crushed, pushed, or stepped on by a crowd or human stampede. Sad, but true. Contact with other powered hand tools, your weed blower or your weed whacker, W29. W29. So when you have leaf blowers, weed whackers, they're pointed down, harmful when facing up. Just be very careful with that as you're collecting all of those fall foliage. The next one, W6t. Contact with sharp leaves. Okay, really? So are these leaves that are frozen, or some of you already getting snow? But there's actually an ICD10 code for contact with a sharp leaf. I mean, enough already. I find these just so amusing to me because I just think these are seriously ICD10 codes. And you should take a look at these at some time if you get a chance, because I was looking for one the other day for a fall off a shelf. Somebody was putting on something on a tall shelf, and it's right next to fall off a commode. I was just like, okay, so somebody fell in the bathroom off the toilet. Okay, that's awesome. So just know that there are diagnoses for everything, but hopefully you enjoyed a little of those fall diagnoses for ICD-10. So my coding question today, it actually came from, I was just recently at a practice, one of my bigger clients, and we were talking about supervision guidelines versus incident 2. And I realized that the staff I was talking to, especially in the follow-up email I got today, they were not understanding that it's not the same thing. Supervision guidelines, those are guidelines that relate to indicators in the Medicare fee schedule, and also some commercial plans will have it on their reimbursement schedule as well. Meaning, where does the physician, not a mid-level provider, where does the physician, MD or DO, need to be when certain tests are performed? And remember, only physicians can supervise diagnostic tests. Your mid-levels can supervise therapeutic options, but not diagnostic services. And so basically to render a diagnosis. If there are similar tests that are being performed in conjunction with what was already planned for the patient. So a therapeutic option means they're planned, they've got coronary artery disease. So in 6 months, they're going to be looking at their echo again. But to diagnose a patient, so a stress test, even though they are supervising, that would have to be billed direct if that's under their scope of their license. So make sure when you Google or pull up or look up supervision guidelines, that has to do with diagnostic tests. Incident 2 rules, and this is where somebody asked me to clarify this. Incident 2 rules have to do with office visits and minor procedures within the office. So that means that a doctor established, I just did a podcast on Incident 2 rules, but the doctor established the plan for the patient as far as the plan of care based on their reporting diagnoses. And based on that, they have now basically a protocol for what that patient's going to have done. And now the mid-level provider can provide the service from an established patient visit, and they can bill it under the physician, and the doctor gets 100% reimbursed. Also, since we know that MedPAC is really pushing to do away with Incident 2 rules, one of the things, just a side note, I would strongly advise that when you have a mid-level provide a service on the Incident 2 on an office visit, and it's going to be billed out under the physician, internally, there should be a code that they're picking. So let's say it's a 99214. There should be a 99214B, let's say, that the same code goes to the insurance company. But when you run a report, you want to see how many patients are the mid-level seeing versus everything billed out under the physician. Otherwise, it looks like the physician saw, 60 patients that day, and you have to be able to determine if your, advanced practice practitioners are cost effective. And in the one practice that I'm dealing with right now, they don't have any benchmarks, thresholds, reconciliation like that at all. And so that needs to be implemented to make sure that they are staff that are cost effective. So anyway, supervision guidelines, diagnostic tests, incident 2 rules are for E&M services. Our coding question was brought to you today by SiriusXM Radio, Dr. Radio Channel 110. Check it out live and on demand and download the SiriusXM app today. Okay, so let me see what I want to do with today. So now I want to end with, and this is, like I said, this is going to be a shorter episode, my personal tidbit, well, except for the fact that my Steelers are 4-4, and I'm hoping for a big win against the Rams on Sunday. Now, I recorded this episode before that game, so you will know the outcome by the time this airs on Tuesday, which I say today, but actually I'm recording this over the weekend. Pray for me or I'll be grumpy, because we are... And I say we because I feel like I'm on the Steelers team, but I'm nervous. So we just want to, make a playoff push. And I just really hope that happens. I know that would be probably silly to hope for with our backup quarterback. But I hope so. We will hopefully for a win. So, but I wanted to shout out some new and loyal followers today that have been just so nice, giving me podcast feedback and just really, really nice. And I just appreciate that so much. And you have to know, those of us that podcast, that present, that are public speakers, we have huge egos that create material for you. We do. And I'm telling you, one of the reasons we do this is for the feedback. So if you can leave a review on Apple Podcast, iTunes, a review on, if you're listening on YouTube, on Stitcher, on TuneIn, whatever platform you listen on, please leave me a review and a rating. I really appreciate it. But shout out to Kate S. And by the way, Kate, congratulations again on your CPCA. Becky, Gwendolyn, Dr. Wilson. He's now my buddy. Facebook, I got some new followers on there. Nicole, Melissa, Cindy H, Asia, Julie R, and Jennifer K. So again, thank you all for really supporting the Codecast podcast and also shouting us out, and appreciate you following us on social media. So that's it for me today, everybody. It's Terry Tuesday. Thank you again for listening to the Codecast podcast, and make it a great day.
For more information on medical coding, billing, auditing, and compliance, including how to hire Terry, follow Terry on Twitter at TerryCoder1, or visit her website at www.terryfletcher.net. Podcast producer Joe Kuzma. Music producer Dassassin Music.